All right, all right. Let's get started. Okay. My people are there. Yay. Awesome. Let me help the sound. All right. Let me get to the comment. Who do we have? Okay, we have all our regular and amazing royals of Africa. So, Andrew, peace and love, family. Mbolo to all my new royals. Let me do my formal opening. To my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa. Mbolo. Mbolwani, my people. This is your queen, Queen Ngningone II, 17th generation crown queen of the Fang people, also known as the Immortals. All right. I see our royals out there, Monkosi partner, Monkosi Manzambi, Mbolo. I see you, my dear royal. I see you. I see you. Who else do we have? We have Andrew. Kikongo is in the house. Welcome, my dear royal. Now, welcome to Nubia. Pamela Hood, I see our queen. Very regular. Who else do we have here? All right, so welcome to Nubia, the path to return, the home of the African royals. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm your host, Queen Ngningone II. Welcome to Nubia, the path to return. If you like my vibe, stick around, you might learn something. All right, so to all my returning amazing royals, today we won't do any teaching because I was moved to talk about something as important as our teaching, okay? So we are talking about peace today and how important it is for us for peace to reign among us, okay? So I have a few announcements. Tomorrow we will be sending out emails to our subscribers to the private classes, giving you information about the new settings. Now, I particularly prefer that one because, you know, it will give you the opportunity to interact with me. I can see your faces and we can ask questions. And it would be outside any of these plantations. So we will have a more up close and personal type of approach, right? And I will be sending daily morning messages to get you going and conquer the day. Okay, my beautiful royals of Africa. So today I would like to talk about peace among us, how it is important that we stay cognitive of the fact that since the fall of our people and our civilization, we've been finding ourselves living in some sort of fishbowl, all right? With people looking in, having an opinion about us, you know, judging us, predicting our moves, our thoughts, our everything. So many of you have probably noticed lately, right, that there's a lot of, you know, topics just, you know, all of the sudden trending out there. Putting African versus African American. Are African a problem to African American? Because, since we started talking about our awakening, my people, please really pay attention to this. Since we started talking about our awakening, all of the sudden you see more and more, things being put out there. First of all, they knew that our people were scheduled to awaken. So a movement was created. That's what I call a movement, not a religion, the so-called Hebrew Israelites, where they were made believe that you can cut a tree from somewhere and take it elsewhere and take the trunk of that tree elsewhere. And the root of that tree you cut is no longer part of that tree. Let me just summarize it that way, because that's what they had some of our people here believe. And as a result of which, a lot of them walk around with a deep-rooted hatred for Africans. So when you separate a tree, a trunk of a tree from its root, all right, you got to be a master magician to have, the trunk believe that it doesn't come from that root. All right. So unfortunately, some of our sons over here and daughters have been brainwashed to believe that only them are Judah, like the sky, they fell from the sky. Okay, the tree from which they cut them back at home is not Judah. All right, so that's the reality of what we are dealing with. And as previously said in many of my previous videos, that the divide and conquer had been a very, very powerful tool and still remain as such, as long as we allow it to remain the powerful, the infallible. In French, we say infaillible, the weapon you can use against the enemy, and they're bound to fall for it. So that's what we seeing recently. We all of the sudden have a bunch of trending stuff, and the latest, is the Twitter. I heard it was Twitter conversation, asking people, to say something, whether African Americans should feel that it's a problem to allow Africans to come and take opportunities from them, and so on and so on. So I don't like to recreate the wheel, because a video of one of our daughter, came to me. As I told you, whatever I need to see, I would see. And that daughter of ours made an amazing job in breaking it down for our children in the diaspora. Okay, so her name is Queen Sheree, and she's with We Charge for Colonialism TV. So I followed the link she put underneath the video, and she wrote an amazing article. So I suggest all of you to watch that video. I put it on the link on the box, in the box below. So what I would like our people to understand is that when your oppressor or enemy has been using a weapon that has been so powerful against your people, we have to handle anything that may lead us to fall back into that trap with extreme care. All right. because as effective as that weapon is weakening on the continent. All right. You know, as we're speaking right now, on the continent, they're getting it. The UA got rid of a major observer. Do you know how big that is for us? Because for decades after decades since the so-called independence, right? They made us basically, you know, they treated us like kids, literally. We couldn't have a meeting among ourselves without one of their observers in the room. It's been like that. So for the first time, our people on the continent are rising up against these little tactics. But unfortunately, we're still falling short because within the continent, we're still finding people, you know, our children who, you know, agree to be on their payroll and armed to go and kill their own in the form of Boko Haram, in the form of jihadists, in the form of whatever. It's still unfortunate. So as for those of us in the diaspora, I would like you to understand that we are one. Okay? We are the generation which is educated. We are the generation which has access to knowledge. We are the generation that has access to people in Africa without you needing to travel to Africa. So what does it mean? It means that we are the generation which is bound to see our people heal, rise from the dust, and become its own people again. So it will require everybody understanding and participation in knowing that we are one indeed. That the weapons they used in the past to destroy us shall no longer be effective. I mean, we're talking about weapons that were used, you know, in the 1400s. So these weapons should be obsolete. It's like we should be able to smell it from a distance. When we see a title, you know, not to get worked out, not to get, you know, how to say, not to get worked out, not to get all emotionally involved, because it has been the same tactic. They use us one against the other. All right. The reason why I'm making this video is because I was moved to talk to our people. To stay awake, you have to keep your eyes open and your ears open and your mouth shut and your fingers because the new war is cyber. It's through Twitter, it's through whatever, all these social media owned by them, controlled by them. Your queen, you know, it's like they don't like what I have to say. So I am constantly being shadow banned. Notifications are not sent out because I guess they don't want me to teach you things because they want to continue having their way with you. So even the classes I teach bothers them because it's too much enlightenment for our people. It's like when you know all these things, when you know your purpose and your mission on earth, can nobody play with you, regardless of where you live, because you have a solid foundation. So this queen has, you know, struck a few nerves. So they've been doing this, and of course we can't complain. We watch them do. We found alternative, and whatever they do, they set up for our demise should serve for our betterment. So you have to keep it in mind. These platforms are owned by the same people. And now all of the sudden, now that we're talking about, you know, healing, many of our children are eager to return home. and stuff. All of a sudden, we now have so-called Africans who are Africans, continental Africans, who are so active on social media. Just like anybody can create a profile with an African name, anybody can pretend to be an African and put a comment, I hate African American. First of all, we have to learn to identify these things. So you guys were separated from us. On the continent, we know what happened. They came, conquered, did their thing, and took off with a bunch of our souls. Now, you guys here were taught a lot of lies. And on all my video, I break it down the why they came up with such lies and so on and so on. They're not mentioning reparation, because if you tell the world these group of people, their own crown king, their divinely crowned king sold them, you won't have to answer to nobody. But that which they call their so-called slave trade is really war on Africa, is really the first biggest human trafficking in history. Nobody dares call it for what it is. The first biggest human trafficking. All right. So now that Tatanzambe grace is on us and his divine protection is on us, many of our children are awakening to their true identity. Many of our children are moving back home. Many have already moved back home, right? You know, some are still there and stuff. All of a sudden, a so-called Hebrew Israelite religion pops up. All of a sudden, very active African on social media, you know, are now posting all kind of comments, spewing all kind of evil against our own people and back and forth. We need to be careful with these tactics. The weapon they used in 1492 on shouldn't be effective for this generation, my people. I beg of you, use wisdom. When you land on one of these things, first of all, what are we doing on their social medias? How come we don't have a Black-owned and Black-operated platform? Because our people are yet to trust one another, to believe in one another. Because, you know, they set us up to compete against one another. That's why some of the greatest voices get shut down easily. Those with larger platform don't want to touch, because the mantra is we have to compete against one another. So our people need to be cognitive of all these things. For those of our children who still consider, who know they're African, because according to my observation, we have two kinds of children in the diaspora. We have the children we never lost, no matter what. Any parent would tell you there's two kinds of children. There's the child that God gives to you for you to serve the job of a parent throughout, and then that child may get up and attach himself or herself to another family as its own. And there's a child that God gave you. That one you never lose, no matter what. You can yell at them, you can whip them at night, that they are sitting next to you. Mama, how are you? Papa, how are you? The child that if somebody kidnapped, he's going to find his way home. I don't know exactly where I come from, but I know I come from this land, and that's where I belong, and that's where I'm heading. So we have two categories, okay? I want also our people to understand, whether in the diaspora or on the continent, among us, some of us have been reprobated, meaning their ancestor committed an abomination to the point that they've been casted out spiritually. There are some of us who don't relate nothing to us, to the point that they may cling or tie themselves to any other kind of identity, need to be, before they could associate themselves with Africa. And to those, don't blame them. We are aware of those. They are not only in the diaspora, they're also on the continent. Those, the ancestors have committed abomination and they were reprobated from our group. So they feel no connection to us, whether here, whether back at home. Okay? We have to keep all these things in mind. So, but at the same time, we have to use caution. We have to be aware of our environment and know what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, and how they operate. We can always talk about them, but until we understand their games and not get rattled, because, you know, they're baiting us like animals. Because as long as we fight each other, they get away with nonsense. They get away with theft. They get away with murder. They get away with rape, and so on and so on. They get away with taking our resources. Still, I told you, my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, because this is who you are, all right? You were royals who were stripped out of everything. Strip of your titles, strip of your everything, your homeland, your everything. Nevertheless, you are who you are. We are one. Okay? We are one. No matter what anybody says. I refuse the identity to go around claiming African American, African American. None of you is African American. Nobody gave you away to these people. You were right out stolen. And clinging to an identity that is yet to claim you is detrimental for your own mental health. So we have to be careful. I don't know the propaganda they're trying to put out there, that Africans hate African American, and African American hate African American. It's true that we have a lot of hurt people here, but nevertheless, until you see someone on the screen bashing African Americans or bashing African for no apparent reason whatsoever, just out of pure hatred, you know, then don't move. Because behind these aliases, it could be anybody. And the sick pleasure they will give themselves to watch us, you know, fighting one another, pulling one another's hair, being unkind to one another. Unless you catch them in the action, trashing what you hold as dear. And then you go for the counterattack. Other than that, let it chill. Am I aware that some foreigners come here and get into these offices and try to serve that system? Yes, my people, I have seen those. I have seen them. It's nothing different than what we already have at home. We have entities like that at home. They will do it. I mean, they will sell their whole country because these people promise them power. We're dealing with a lot of reprobated minds, reprobated souls. So you have to be cognitive of that. This is the time Tata Nzambe has said that we must heal. We should heal. This is not the time to fight one another. we should never take away, we should never take our eyes off who's our true and common enemy. Those who kidnapped you, those who murdered your forefathers, crown royals and everything, stripped naked and thrown in the belly of a sheep. Those and nobody else. When you see something, first look at the platform. Which platform is this? Who owns this platform? Now, all of a sudden, they have many profiles of Africans out there talking trash against our own people. But we know many, I know many of our sons, continental Africa, who are moving home. Some of them have already moved home with their American wife and vice versa. In my family, I myself am married an African American. If my parents taught me hatred of African Americans, I wouldn't do that. I have another cousin in Maryland, D.C. She's a lucky one because she's been married to her Kevin for what? 20-something years. Their daughter is what, 24. That tells you we've been working together, living together, intermarrying, and so on. I even know a group of African American women living in Nigeria. They have a community group. They've been living there for 20-something years among us. Nobody violated them. Nobody insulted them. Nobody. Stop listening to the garbage the enemy puts out there. You have to be at peace with one another. Don't let anybody come around and rattle you at will. They're trending, they're trending, they're trending. Our children here who identify themselves as them, good. Stay and continue fighting that fight. But what Satan Zambe said for our people is that in this time in our history, we must go back to where we come from. Point blank, period, is the end of our slavery. We must stand as one. That's why I told you in my last video that each one of you who answered their stupid last name, it's a reminder of our failure. My people, we need to do better. We need to stick to one another, for all we have. When we found a continental African coming here, talking trash, challenging us, we do what we do, the Pan-Africanists. We laying on the table and we chop him up. Until we see with our eyes, let's not jump into conclusion. It could be these people manipulating us over and over again. So our generation shouldn't fall into that nonsense our ancestors fell. We know the Ashanti hired the British to wipe out the Akan and send their children away. We know who did that. I think the Yoruba did that to the Igbos, because internally they were fighting. The Igbos kept on invading the Yoruba. So when these devils came, the devils seemed like a savior. Let not one of us make that mistake. We are one, children of Africa. Same father, same mother. Some of you out there have my blood running in your veins. They kidnapped our crown royals, threw them in the ship. Some of you are my blood. What are you talking about? What people both on the continent and in the diaspora need to worry about is the big reunion, getting together. Those on the continent need to be thinking about accommodating their returning children. These are the conversations we should be having at this time among us. If you're on the continent, you're watching me. This is the program. Our children are coming back home. We're tired of the slavery. Whomever has anything funny to say about African American, like I always say, keep it in your house. Keep it in your house. Sing it to your wife. We don't care. Our children are coming home. You need to look around, locate land that you're going to give to them for their coming home. Whichever country they choose to go, home is home to us. That's the only conversation we should be having. To all of you, whether in the diaspora, whether on the continent, our sons and daughters in the diaspora should be preparing their mind mentally and everything. You folks need to be tying loose ends, like you English people say. You should be worrying about tying loose ends before you head back to the jungle we come from. These are the conversations we should be having right now between us and between them. No fight, no strike. We are one. Those on the continent who may, I haven't heard really anybody except one lady who contacted me and told me about the security concern of our people returning, that some of them, gonna fight us. I'm like, haven't we been fighting? I think we have been fighting since the fall of our people. We've been fighting. We've been fighting each other. What difference does it make to get them in their mind that your child is your child? Whomever kidnapped them, went and used them and abused them, doesn't no longer have a hold over them. Now they can return. And this is what we must do. I don't care. When we get home, we figure it out. We reconnect you to your ancestral land. You will have a family. You will start whether we eat good. If we don't eat good, nevertheless, we on our ancestors' land. Instead of taking abuse on a foreign land that is yet to recognize you. Everybody that come around get granted a special status, but our children who helped build this country. Can you see that is there to destroy us? They're there to divide us. Let's not fall into that trap. We're too smart for that. Okay, my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa. So I encourage you to watch the video of your sister. Her name is Queen Sheree. My dear daughter, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name right. But you are a queen indeed. I would crown you because you have that light. Watch her video. She broke it down like the true royal she is. Don't get distracted, looking left, looking right. It's like these people, they've been having a field day with us, rattling us at will. The problem has always been us, and the problem remains us. Okay? So don't get into that. They love to see us like that. Unless you catch the idiots bashing our people here or bashing our people on the continent, then we can chop him up like I chop up that stupid guy that made 2 hours video long calling us wizard, necromancers, blah, blah, blah. When they come to you and repeat the garbage their master told them about us, go and chop them up. Lay them flat and use your royal stick to whoop that behind royally. All right. So let's see. Oh my God, my royals out there. Yes, Monkosi Manzambi, you made it on time. So we are having a peace message today. So as I was saying, those who have already subscribed, you will receive an email by tomorrow morning because we have moved the operation. I like it better. I can't drop names because these people, it seems like wherever your queen goes, your queen talks too much. Your queen is bringing you too much truth and enlightening you with that knowledge. They don't like that. They like gullible people they can have their way at will with. Not anymore. Their mamas out here. All right. So that's the message I had for today. On a different note, I just want you guys to know that on the continent, our people out there are really, coming together, pulling together. It's good to see. One of the biggest bully lost their seat as an observer, and Addis Ababa it will be. All right, all our meetings, let's go there because Ethiopia know how to bark like Rottweilers. We don't want no observer. We're not observing your meeting, so stop observing ours. Okay? Eye level going forward or no deal. Simple. So what are my royals saying? Let me go into the chat, the comments. What are our amazing and beautiful African royals have to say tonight? Peace, love, and unity indeed. Peace, love, and unity. I see a new royal, Abishabaz. Welcome, welcome home. This is Nubia, the path to return, the home of the African royals. This is who we are. Never drop your royal identity because it's the identity that ties us, that links us to Tatanzambe, the creator. We, the Blackies, we have him as direct ancestor. Don't play around that identity. Let me see. They try to separate the children. Please don't fall into that. We are one. My mother in Barranquilla, Colombia, we were driving back, to our hotel because at that time my father was in mission in Venezuela. So we went to Barranquilla, visit our people, and to Buenaventura. I remember, on our way back to the hotel, one of my sisters said, wow, the Black Colombians are cute. And my mom, she just got out of herself. She turned around and said, never call them Black Colombian. They are African, born in Colombia, African, born in America, African, born in Brazil, African, born in Peru, and wherever else they had our people. So these people cannot have it both ways. You are American when it's convenient to them, when it's to make inventions they can rightfully claim, when it's to go run and get medals for them, when it's to lift up the name of them. But when it comes to rights, our people are still very marginalized in this country. Okay? So they're realizing that the time they were having it both ways, it's over. Now it's judgment time. If they want to know what's coming for them, they should lay low. At this time, they should worry about making peace with their past because what's coming is nothing fun for them. Okay, you have to understand. Thank you, Andrew. Blessing unto you too. Is together. We are one. My mother told me, and she was a crown queen. She was a no nonsense type of woman. She said, don't let anybody put any garbage in your head. They're just not black. This land doesn't have indigenous people that look like us. These are our people. That's what my mother told me, and that's what I tell my children, and that's what I'm telling you today. All right? So, to my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, know that you are loved. Know that you are protected. Know that Tata Nzambe, the creator and our first ancestor, is with you in the time of our history. Just release the pain. Many of us are still healing. So be in the lookout for the emails. We will give you instruction. You're going to be able to interact with your queen, and your queen going to be able to see your beautiful and amazing faces. All right. We will spend a good time in teaching in peace and love with no harassment. All right. So, all right. Let me see. So first time say greetings from Chicago. Give thanks to the Most High, creator of all creation, the judge and the juror, the only one, only of worthy of worship. We're not talking about worshiping anybody here. We're talking about knowing who we are. If you are one of these idiots who go around thinking that we shouldn't claim the royal title, you are who you are. We're not asking anybody to worship anybody on this platform. Okay? So that's the kind of confusion, that just, is like to pour venom. We are royals. Being royals doesn't mean that you have to worship. This is how they tear everything away. That some of our people are so used to be naked. When someone come and put a coat on them, they say, "No, I don't want the coat. Throw the coat away. I want to be naked." These are the ones who come after us, the African royals. These are the ones. I probably wear my crown. I know Tata Nzambe knows me personally through the covenant he have with my ancestors. They die fighting and defending our people. So that's why this crown is still sitting here. Those who have a problem with being royal, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where they pick you up. I don't know. But to all our children out there, carry yourself as such. We have Tata Nzambe as an ancestor, as the original ancestors. When we climb our genealogy, it goes back to him. That's all I care about. And I wear my crown with pride. Okay? So don't come and lecture us over here. Nobody is asking to worship anybody. And I don't like it when people take things out of context. If Africans didn't tell us, we all would have died. It's interesting. We have trolls here, but I handle them. We all would have died fighting European. That didn't happen. Well, if Africans sold you, the kingdoms will still be existing. Okay, what kind of collaboration was that? Do you think they invade the land of all these people they're doing business with today? Do you think that because they do business with China, Chinese have to speak English as official language? Chinese have to adopt their political, their education, their everything? It means war. It was an act of war. And our people were not equipped, to fight them military. That's what happened. My kingdom no longer exists on the map. They renamed the country. What kind of collaboration was that? And I voluntarily give you my artifacts for you to take to your museum. Okay. Now you can go. Move on. Get out. Next. So there's this one here. African needs to be honest. African letters be taken to America. Okay. And then they gave their kingdom away. All right. You gotta be a white troll. Some of our children do think like this guy though. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Because if that's the business our forefathers were in, they still be sitting on their thrones. Point blank, period. Engaging into business with anybody doesn't mean that they have to overtake you. Like I'm in business because I do business with whomever. They're going to take over my company and rename my company and change my policies and change everything. If you refuse to see that you are dishonest, you're intellectually dishonest, and you're probably a piece of shit, and you shouldn't be on my chat. Okay, go and cry elsewhere. Since they sold you, you belong to them. Go and lick their behind. Not here. This is a royal space. We should be talking about the homecoming party. Yeah, African sold them. All right, African lost the war. That's what happened. Africa lost the war. Our forefathers are Monkosi. They battled these people with literally their bare hands. I'm such a proud daughter of my forefathers. I don't care what any idiot out there say. The cowards that are here, that betray trust, that betray all these things, they don't reach, they can't hold the tail of their coats. We're talking about men of integrity who didn't cow it out. And you people are here bashing them out of your ignorance. Go back to your plantation. Reprobated mind, reprobated soul. So these are the ones, for example, they will use to ship on the continent. Like a friend of mine who lives in Tanzania told me that the Tanzania custom, they put hands on a group of Hebrew Israelites that left from Israel to go to Tanzania with a bunch of weapons in their suitcases because they're fully in the matrix, right? They gotta take that hatred to somebody, but the master is too strong to attack. So we're gonna attack our own. And the master can make us believe that this, and that. For those of you who have those thoughts, all right, those who side with them, at the end of the day, they still lost their land, the Ashanti kingdom. They told them, you're no longer a king. We got rid of the Akang, we got rid of the Ewe, but guess what? You are now property of Britain. And you can't be a king because there can be two kings under one crown. So you are now a chief. That's the same thing that's going to happen to these idiots since they don't learn. So he's gone. He can take that nonsense elsewhere. Who else want to be banned from our platform? Let me see. All right. So here is African pride. We never gave them our children. Okay, as long as you keep on chit-chatting that narrative, you're going to remain their property and they don't owe you anything. So stay between your master's legs. As for our royals, like you will see that queen on in the video, I mean, she she broke it down. Like I said, there's two kind of children. There's children that God just said, do your job as a parent, but that child will not be a child per se. And there's children, no matter where they take them, you just sit and wait and start looking. Oh, they will appear. They will appear because blood is calling them. All right. So to my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, never feel ashamed to claim your true and only royal identity, for it ties you to Tatan Zambe. All right. We have Tatan Zambe as ancestors, and he gave us a crown unlike any. So wear that crown. Let the losers go and be savages elsewhere and be peasants elsewhere. Okay, my people, united we'll make it, divided we fall. All right, what else is out there? That's why many didn't live long. All right. So, anyway, so you have to be cognitive of the little traps. Don't fall in their trap. We know better. Our generation should know better, and our generation, should move differently. So, until next time, to my lovely and amazing royals of Africa, peace in your homes, all right, at all times. Love in your heart. Love is our driving force, and unity is our best weapon against them. All right? Until next time. Mwah.